the lady goes, recording in progress. It's Siri's sister.
Siri sister.
Yeah.
We are live. All right, now we're live. So watch what you
Yeah. All right. Zip.
Hi, everybody. Welcome, kings and queens, beautiful family and friends from all over the world. I am super excited and honored to be here with my amazing friend, King Matt Fu, who has, wow, an incredible story to share, an incredible testimonial, and he's been helping people from all over the world. And it all started with his own healing journey. So we were goofing around a little bit before, but I'll be a little serious to introduce him. So Matt was plagued with so many different health problems from a very young age, everything from cystic acne to heart palpitation, IBS, ED, erectile dysfunction. He also had like boils, cysts, psoriasis, arthritis, and anxiety, and cold sores, high cholesterol. Oh my gosh, like, can you even imagine going through that like at such a young age? And, you know, he went to doctors and they were prescribing medication, and he just knew deep in his soul that there was another answer, there was another way. So he didn't accept what they were prescribing him, and he decided to go the natural route. He decided to go the route of, you know, holistic healing with diet and different practices. So through that whole experience, within a few months, he started seeing improvement in his health, and all of his symptoms went away. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube video with his testimonial, definitely check it out, Matt from Mankind, where he talks in depth about his journey. It was a really, really powerful interview we did last year. And now he's been, over the last 6 years, helping thousands of people, you know, millions, I would say too, because your power is, you know, your influence is spreading far and wide. Everybody from, you know, entrepreneurs to artists, entertainers, business people, stay-at-home moms, everybody. And, you know, he's helped reverse like even stage 4 cancers, tumors, cysts, diabetes, like everything that we would think would need medication for, he's been helping them to overcome and conquer naturally. So I had the privilege of meeting Matt at the Texas Fruit Festival as well. So he's also an amazing public speaker where everybody was blown away by his presentation. He changed our lives and has completely just, you know, empowered us to make better decisions for ourselves, and that has such a ripple effect all around us. So I have been learning so much from you, and I have been implementing, you know, different practices that you've been teaching, and I am just super, super grateful to have you in my life, to be your friend, and to learn with you. You are a powerful leader in our community. People really look up to you, and you're just like such a light in our world. And then I'll share a little bit more about your amazing books that you've written as well, for those who are interested in a detox guide and a recipe book as well. So welcome once again, Matt. I'm so happy to have you here. Today we're gonna be, you know, doing a little bit of more of a casual conversation, and whatever comes up, comes up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, Aline. And that was amazing introduction. And I just want to say you inspire and empower me as well. And I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate everything that you do, you know, in the health community and guiding people back to themselves and guiding them to heal. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. We were joking a little bit, saying we feel like we're a team of superheroes, you know, a little bit of like those who have done the work, you know, and now we're coming together, you know, almost like an alliance of self-healers, of light workers. Here we really feel like we're on a mission, right? We're on a mission to spread the truth and the knowledge and the joys of this lifestyle too, for those who are ready, you know, those who are ready to hear, those who are ready to see, those who are ready to make the changes. So I would love to hear about, I definitely, you know, want to bring some solutions to people, bring some helpful advice that could help them on their journey. I know a lot of us are watermelon cleansing right now, or on a juice feast, or transitioning to plant-based foods. And what I really love about your approach is you meet people where they're at, right? It's like you really meet people where they're at, even if they never had a vegetarian day in their life, or they've never, not had processed foods. You really meet them where they're at, and you help them in the transition to getting healthier. So what is healthy? Like, what does that even mean? Like, we haven't been taught in school. We weren't really shown what to eat. And a lot of us, like you and I, have to figure it out on our own. We had to do our research. We had to kind of dig deep, do our own cleansing. What does health mean to you? Like, what does that mean to you?
I'd say that health for me is everything,
Yeah.
right? It's like I came to a realization at such a young age that without health, it's like we really don't have anything at all, right? And to really enjoy and have true quality of life, we need to have our health intact and we need to have it optimized. Otherwise, we're just not going to get the same experience of life. We're not going to really be able to become the greatest version of ourselves or who we were meant to be. And the most important thing for me is, or what I believe for everybody, is just carrying out your mission here on earth. What is your purpose? Everybody has a reason to be here. And without our health, I feel like we're just not able to do that in, the way we're meant to, the way we're designed to do that, and really have that impact here on earth and on, our other people, unless we have our health together, unless we're feeling good, unless we have that energy and that vitality and that life force. And overall, it's just really, for me, that experience is having the body be free from obstructions and allowing the cells and everything, the fluids and the organs and the glands and the tissues, everything to be just free flowing, which is really the root cause, I believe, of all different disease and illness, is the blockage of energy in the body. And so when that is freed up for proper flow of energy, proper conductivity of electricity, I feel like we just experience everything on a completely different level, like as compared to when we're dulled down, full of waste, and fatigued and tired and in pain and sick, and it's just night and day. But for me, I value my health over everything.
Mhm.
It is just, I know it is our most valuable asset along with time, but you still can't enjoy the time that we're here on this realm without the health. So it's still, at the end of the day, it's number one for me. And yeah, it's just, it's literally everything to me. So if I could sum up health, that's what it would be for me, to carry out my mission and truly enjoy this life and everything that it has to offer.
Oh, and absolutely. I 100% agree. It's really hard to even think or work when we have brain fog that's associated with, poor digestion, or, we're having some kind of chronic pain in our body. It's like we're in survival mode a lot of the time, or even when we're feeling depressed. Like, how many people are struggling with depression and anxiety? Like, I've been there too. And we are literally in survival mode. Like, it's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to have any kind of motivation. We're isolating ourselves. We're confused. Like, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of, I don't know who I am, right? And I've definitely had this similar experience when I started eating better. It's like a switch turned on. It was like, oh, well, there I am. Like, where have I been all my life? It was just like a wake up call. It was an awakening to who I really am inside, that I didn't really know how to feel that before. Like, I had a longing for it. I had an idea of it. I had an idea of, I'm here for big things. I'm here for a big purpose. Like, I felt that deep, deep down, like an ancestral, like freaking ancient kind of way, but I just didn't know how to access that. I didn't know how to access my fullest potential until I started cleansing and detoxifying and getting the old waste out, the mucoid plaque, the parasites, like, that were controlling my mind, my emotions, my everything. So that's like on point, everything you're saying. It's an activation, it's an awakening to who we truly are. That's why Kings and Queens of Ra, that's like our whole thing is like awaken to your divine self, awaken to your divinity within, because you are so powerful. But we've been robbed of our power in so many different ways through, advertisements, through magazines, doctors, like our surroundings, our family, the programming, all of it has really robbed us of our power and brainwashed us. It's like we're under a spell, and we need to break that spell. Because if you were to tell anybody about your symptoms, let's say you would come to a doctor and say, oh, I have arthritis, I'm feeling like really pains in my joints, and then I have these skin issues, and I have this heart palpitations. They would kind of think, no, they would not they would think it's three separate problems. They would give you something for your heart. They would give you something for your acne. They would give you something for, all the different problems. But like, in reality, what you're saying is that everything is interconnected. Everything, because all of your symptoms went away. It wasn't just your heart palpitations that went away. It wasn't just your arthritis that got better. It's everything got better when you started taking on this lifestyle. So it is all interconnected. And the root cause, maybe you could explain a little bit what the root cause is to all of these. I mean, you did say it. It's okay. We don't have to go back into it.
Elaborated on it a little bit more. But...
Too much poop.
Exactly. You're full of crap. But yeah, I'd say, along with what you just mentioned before, you feel like your body physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually was dormant. Your body physically, mentally.
Sorry, I'm putting it on the face. I'm just checking.
I heard, I was like, hey, there I am.
I'm going to share it. Yes.
And I feel like you needed to find a way, like you felt like you weren't quite there. You weren't yourself. And you feel like there was something more out there. And I feel like we're dormant before we get into this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And we need to find a way to activate that, right? Everything's not coming up to life yet. And then you feel that, all of that transform, and you feel that all come to life once you switch over all these things and make these changes in your life and your eating habits, but also to your point with the actual people living in depression and things like that, that's also such a huge part of what I was saying with quality of life. And that's one of the major pieces for me, is having inner peace, right? Being at peace, not being in survival mode, not being stressed out and anxious or depressed all the time, which a lot of people are living in day to day and constantly stuck in that vicious cycle. So for me, like a big part of that is having inner peace and being calm, being relaxed, being grounded, because for me, the alternative of which I've experienced and which most people have is the anxiety, depression, the stress that's like a living hell, mm-hmm. right? To be stuck in that and living that every single day is like a living hell. Mm-hmm. And I think I just want everybody to be able to experience that inner peace, that inner calmness of just of being at peace. It's just, there's nothing like that when you're truly at peace, mm-hmm. and calm, and you're in the other, not the fight or flight mode. You're in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest, digest, and heal, where you're now able to be calm. You're able to truly heal, so a lot of people don't know what that's like, mm-hmm. because they're just stuck in that cycle of stress, anxiety, and depression. So my job is to help people get out of that, right? And to break that cycle and to experience what life is supposed to truly feel like. Mm-hmm. It's not supposed to be this complete state of panic all the time, right? So that's another beautiful thing that happens when you start making these adjustments and changes, is just, your nervous system, your neurological system, everything starts to rebalance and regain homeostasis, mm-hmm. But as far as the root cause of illness and disease, it's really, the body being obstructed with all different types of foreign matter and waste matter. And that comes in all different shapes and forms, right? Whether that be acids, acidic metabolic waste, excess mucus in the body, undigested foods, heavy metals, chemical toxins, mold, fungus, overgrowth of those things, parasites, all of these things cause the body to become backed up and obstructed. And that obstructs the trillions of cells in the body from proper cellular communication. And all that is just a blockage of energy, which is exactly what I would say is the root cause of all disease, is the blockage of the energy and electricity.
Mhm.
And what you find when you start eliminating all of those different things is that the body is going back, and now it's healing and repairing, regenerating, and regaining balance, regaining homeostasis. It's going back to origins. The body wants to return back to itself. So all it does is everything you have is already within you. It just doesn't want all of this crap in between it, in the way.
Mhm.
And then what we experience for ourselves is our symptoms of dis-ease, our conditions. They start to dissipate one by one. They start improving until they go away completely. And you're like, oh my God, like that's all it was, right? It wasn't, oh, I got stuck with bad luck. Oh, I got bad genetics. Oh, it's just what happens in life, right? We have control of what we experience with our health. We are responsible for the outcome of our health. Luckily, it's a beautiful thing, right? It's a blessing that we're in control.
Yes.
Right? But you have to have the desire to want to take control, take the steering wheel and drive.
That reminds me of this saying, genetics loads the gun, but habits pull the trigger. It's like we can come into this world with certain, weaknesses for sure. Like when our parents, let's say they have a history of cancer or diabetes or all that, like we may come with like a kidney, weakness and things like that. However, it's still in our hands. It's not because our family came from that, or it's not because everybody has, certain dis-ease that we necessarily have to activate that those genes too. We don't need to activate them with our habits. So if somebody comes into the world with a little tendency, let's say, like I have a very, very like a tendency to really put on a lot of weight. Like that's my family, my mom, my grandmother, like my whole, that whole side of the family, like we put on weight really, really easily. So yeah, I could be like, okay, that's just the way my family is. And if I let myself eat certain things, like I mean, we all have a tendency to put on weight naturally, but like certain people I feel have a little bit more tendency, right, to put on that extra weight. But because of the choices I'm making, I'm not gonna live that destiny, because it's like I chose not to. So yeah, everything could be reversed through this lifestyle. It's like I love what you say too. It's like, it's not the fruit that heals you. It's not the herbs that heal you. It's nothing outside of you. What those things do is give your body the proper environment for it to do what it needs to do and repair and regenerate itself. So I'm 100% on board with everything you're saying. And why aren't more people doing it then? Like, why do you think it's so hard? Like the information is there, everybody's, tuned. A lot of people are tuned into it, and still so many of us struggle. And I'm going to include myself in there because I went down a little rabbit hole for a few months there of eating, cooked foods and salty foods and oily foods after being raw vegan for 3 years. So I'm super open about my journey. Like I, started off quite innocently with a little bit of steamed broccoli and sweet potatoes. And then, it was a quick thing before I was like putting in salt and frying up stuff and having Chinese food. And I was just like, oh my God, what happened? And I started feeling the changes in me. I started feeling, because I had been so clean for so long, like I really felt the shift, and I fell into a deep depression. This winter time where I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do interviews. My skin got bad again, like all those symptoms. My period got horribly painful again. Like all of those things came back. And I really feel like they were there to like slap me in the face a little bit of like, stay on track, like get back on track, because this is your life. And but still, like, even for somebody who's been doing this for so long, like even I was struggling to get back on it, to get back on the fruit, to get back on the raw foods. Like I really needed support. I really needed help. Like, oh, it was scary. Why do you think we slip, and why do you think it's so hard to stay on track sometimes?
Yeah, I would say that's all part of the process,
Mm,
right? I'd say nobody gets around things like that. Nobody falls off sometimes. Like nobody's perfect. And I want everyone, and including you, just throw the idea of perfection out the window, right? We're not striving for perfection. There's no such thing as perfection, right? We are perfectly imperfect,
mhm.
right? So all of these things are just lessons, and they just kind of they help guide us and push us back to where we're supposed to be, right back onto our path, right? They're almost like a reminder of like, okay, like this is not where I'm supposed to be. This is not where what I'm meant to be doing. And it's like, okay, let me realign,
Mhm.
So sometimes you need that,
Yes.
right? So it's not like, oh, I'm a bad person. Oh, I did this wrong. It's like, oh, I messed up. It's like, it's okay. Like that's part of life, right? All these different experiences and lessons, that's part of the journey. And
Mhm.
that's why it's a journey. Health is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
So we have to go through these things to get better, to grow stronger, to evolve, to sharpen ourselves, and really, become even more powerful.
Mhm.
So now it's just like you remember what happened when you fell off, and now even more you don't want to go back to whatever that was for you, that experience. It's just like some things we decide, what experience do we want?
Mhm.
And now you know what you had with that, and you're like, I don't want to experience that, maybe, right?
Mhm.
Right? That wasn't enjoyable. That's not who I am. That took me away from, where I was aligned, where with my highest self. So I would say that's 100% part of the process, and no one gets around those things. Everybody falls off. It's part of being human. It's part of life. Now, what I would say as far as people that like all the information's there, why don't people do this? Why doesn't everybody do this?
Yes.
Right? It's simple. It's like, oh, this is the solution here. We have a solution here. It's working. It's real. It's effective. The results for people are amazing. So why the hell isn't every single person just jumping into this? Right? So I would say for that, there's a couple of reasons. Right off the top of my head, I'd say for one, there's people who intuitively feel this is the right path,
Mhm.
but are scared, right? They fear the change, right? Change is scary, right? It's uncomfortable. There's a lot of discomfort around the whole thing of, oh my God, my life will not be the same. It's like, oh, maybe I won't enjoy this as much. Maybe, you know, there's a lot of fear built around that, because it's your entire world and reality is flipped upside down, right? From where you're coming from. So that makes people hesitant to go into it, even though they know, like I said, intuitively, instinctually, they feel guided towards this. There's a calling in their soul, like there's something here, like this sounds like something that I've known all along, but they just haven't done it yet. And I'd say the other people, there's also the people who think it's just we're batshit crazy, right?
Yeah.
They're just like, that sounds completely insane. You're out of your damn mind,
Yes.
right? Like what the hell are you doing? So there's that part. But I would say that those people are so, maybe conditioned or disconnected from their true nature, that doing things that are actually natural and beneficial and healthy just don't even make sense to them.
Yeah.
It just seems like complete insanity for your average person,
Mhm.
coming from what they've been doing, right? What they've been taught their entire life, they've had their mind wired to do things a certain way. So when they hear this, they're like, "Oh, you're insane. You're out of your mind." So that makes them just completely brush everything we say off, right? They just block it out because they're just like, "Oh, that's absolutely wrong."
Mhm.
So there's two different sides to that. The people who want to do it but they're scared, or they don't have the proper guidance, you know or they're just making excuses, or there's a lot of different factors there, you know also between self-love, right? Self-limited beliefs and self-limited thinking, negativity, like thinking I could never do that. I could never do that, right? And so many people feel that way, just like, oh my God, like I could never do that. Like I would love to do that. Like I respect what you do. It sounds amazing. And I think that's great. You have discipline, right? But I could never do that. And that's just them making up an excuse in their head, their mind, like almost like a defense mechanism in their mind to try and protect their, their way of life now, their belief system now, right? It's like, oh, let me make up like an excuse so I don't have to take action, so I don't have to make changes, right? So there's a whole bunch of different elements, but those I'd say are the main ones.
Because that would mean admitting that what they've been doing was wrong, right?
Exactly.
I always
No
say it
one
takes a lot
wants
of
to admit that.
humility. Yeah, it takes a lot of humility to change. It takes a lot of humility to take on this new way of thinking, of being, of everything. It takes that piece. And I think, like you're saying, I think that's the hardest thing. On top of, like, some unresolved trauma as well. I feel like the emotions play a big role, as well as everything that you're saying. When we have childhood trauma, or we have unresolved emotions that we don't want to be feeling, we numb it. So it is an addiction. We like stuff it down, but then once we're ready to look at ourselves and ready to say, hey, this isn't working, when having that courage to say that, then the whole game changes. I want to read a comment from Queen April, because she is one of them that was saying, I could never do that. So she came into my life recently through a mutual friend, and she is incredible, and she's doing the watermelon washout. But she writes, I was eating meat, chicken, fish, flour, sugar not too long ago. It took a few months, but Aline helped me so much to know I don't need to be perfect, just keep doing it. But the cravings were really powerful until I joined the watermelon fast, which helped a lot. She did not believe it. She says it wasn't an excuse for her, but she didn't believe it. And that comes with the programming, that comes with the society that tells us certain things. So like you said, there's a lot of fear, and she didn't believe it, but she didn't have, I could not get the confidence or even the hope that I could do it. Aline believed in me before I believed in myself. Aw, thanks, Queen. Love you so much. And you're amazing. You're doing it. You're doing it every single day. I'm like, whoa, April, I am so impressed with you. Like, you are doing it. You are freaking blowing everybody away, because you just like, I don't know if this was in the washout. I don't want to say too much here there, but she's been just like jumping in quantum leaps, from where she was just a few weeks ago. It's like the perfect example of a woman that's just so ready to take charge of her life. She has a very strong why, and she shares it, and once we have that, we commit to that, then we do amazing things, like be on watermelon for 5 days, and just like completely change your way of thinking and feeling, fighting the cravings too, and being with them, sitting with them. I think there's something to be said about that. Like just sitting with the discomfort of maybe feeling a little bit hungry. We just run to food so much, but can we just sit with it? And can we just like be with it and breathe and experience that feeling of hunger, and just like whatever emotion comes up. Maybe we need to cry. I always tell my people, like, just cry. Like, you probably need to cry right now, and then you have the cry and you're like, whoa, I don't really need food anymore, because that was the energy that needed to be released in a healthy way. What I really love about your program too, the Electric Human Academy, is that you incorporate these other practices as well. Like the food is so important. Definitely it's foundational. And you also incorporate things like breath work, how to improve your sleep. You talk about like, the toxins that we put in our bodies, the chemicals we put in our hair, what we listen to, what we, let come into our life, like in different forms of nourishment as well. And I think that's so important to put all those pieces together, because the food is incredible. And then when you start putting in the breath work, you start like changing the way you sleep, changing what you watch, all those things put together really, make us more electric, make us more conscious, elevate us to new like levels of awareness and consciousness. So yeah, maybe you want to touch a little bit on those other practices as well that could also support somebody in their detoxification process, right? If you're having stressful time, or you're feeling a lot of emotions, like, breath work could really help you. Or maybe you need to like, see what time you're going to sleep at included.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say, there's so many different tools that we can use on this journey, to help support the body, to help pull us and to help propel us through all of the difficult times, in making these different changes in lifestyle and whether it be dietary wise as well. And that's why I really emphasize a holistic approach in the program. It's like we don't change one thing, we change everything. So I think that really supports, your whole transformation, your body and the adjustments that it's going through and the healing, and obviously supporting that environment for the body to heal, creating the environment, getting out of its way. So yes, diet is one part of health and it's very important, one of the most important parts, but it's also about a lot of people neglect the other fundamentals and essentials of health, right? All these different elements from nature that we're supposed to utilize, right? Like how we sleep, how we breathe, how we move, how we think, right? All these things are so important, right? Purified water, right? So when we change all these things, it changes our entire lives. So that's where in the program, we adjust and we optimize every single aspect and facet of health that works. That works synergistically together to create the highest levels of health and has a cumulative effect, right? So it builds up over time, right? But each thing, I always say, we can't have one thing without the other. So that's why we do all of these things together, right? You can change your diet and you can have the most wonderful diet, the most perfect diet in the world. But if you're not getting proper sleep and rest, it's not going to matter because it's going to throw everything off, right? That's how important and how foundational sleep is, right? So just like I said, and for cravings and for the emotional aspects of healing and detoxification, the breath work is massive. Being able to breathe through all of those things to get to the other side is just monumental, right? Because a lot of times, like you said, we're running to the kitchen cabinets or ordering food or trying to suppress and numb those things rather than just sitting there and being in the present moment, feeling and processing all of those things come up to the surface because we're no longer suppressing, we're no longer band-aiding, we're no longer running away from those things. We're facing our feelings, we're facing our fears, our deepest traumas that have been stored into our cells and that have manifested physically in a physical form. So the breath work is huge for that, to help push through, because we're reconnecting with our soul, reconnecting with the spirit, which is the breath. The breath is the spirit. It connects us to life, so just that and our overall breathing mechanics. So many people have dysfunctional breathing and they're breathing wrong, and it's putting them into fight or flight mode. It's making them anxious. It's making them depressed, right? So when we transform or we turn the dysfunctional breathing into functional breathing mechanics, that changes everything, the way we think, the way we feel, our energy, our nervous system, right? So everything, all these things play a role. And that's why I want to cover every single part of health, not just what we eat, even though I love talking about what we eat and how we eat is like, and what we put in our body is so freaking important, but I love to cover everything that works and is an attributing factor to our overall health and well-being.
Wow. Woo, I was like feeling goosebumps when you were talking about the breath work, like the connection to ourself and to God, to spirit, to source. Like we are breath, before, like we could go without water, we could go without food, but we can't go without breath. And we take it for granted so much, and having struggled with anxiety, and sometimes I still struggle with anxiety, and I notice where my breath is, it's like right here. It's so shallow, it's so rapid, and it's like wild what a little bit of breath work could do just to calm me down. So as much as anger and stress can, dysregulate our breathing, the same way when we regulate our breathing, we like change our emotions. So absolutely 100%, everything you're saying is so true. And breath work has really changed my life, and I could feel it when I'm not consistent with it, or when I come back to it. Like my whole day is different. Even how I react to my daughter was a teenager, you know, how I reacted to sad situations, to like, you know, breakups and fights and whatever may happen, arguments. Like I just can handle it in such a different way. It's like I'm more accepting of life. I'm more peaceful with myself and with others. I react less quick and less aggressively. All of that just changes so much once we have control over our breath. And it really does change the quality of our life overall. You know, the quality of our breath changes the quality of our life. And Queen April says she's going to watch this over and over again. Matt is amazing. And she really is really grateful for all these tips.
Oh, thank you, April. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
She says what we put in our bodies, food and people. Yes.
No doubt. No doubt. And, you know, I'd also say with the breath work, it's like a lot of the times you're not even hungry for food. You're actually
Yeah.
hungry for air,
Yes.
hungry for oxygen, right? Or you're just thirsty. You're dehydrated, right? So it's like rather than just running to food, take some breaths. Because also, like you said, we can change our mental, emotional state with the breath work in just a matter of minutes, right? You can completely switch around your state of emotions from anger, sadness, fear, right? To all of a sudden to peace, to bliss, to happiness, right? And like just by breathing. That's what happens when you use truly powerful breathing techniques and patterns and rhythms. It can change everything just in minutes like that. So then you find, oh my God, I really didn't need to eat a meal. I didn't need to eat a crappy snack or, you know, some type of salty food or crunch on something to release these emotions. And the breath work is really one of the best ways that allows us to truly process the feelings, right? It allows those things to come up, to feel them fully and release them from your body, right? That's what the breath work does. It puts it right in front of us to face and feel, and there's nothing in between us. And now we can truly experience those emotions, you know? So the breath work is one of the most powerful tools that we have, right? It's free. We have access to it at any moment in time. So it's like, why would you not take advantage of that? Right?
You said something golden right there. I mean, everything you say is golden, but particularly coming from a man, you know, coming from an empowered, healed, strong man to say, like, let's face our shit, you know, and let's feel those emotions. I feel like, you know, women are a little bit more comfortable with our emotions and feeling, you know, all those things, but men, it's a problem that they don't want to feel their emotions. They don't want to be with them because they've been told from such a young age, you know, boys don't cry, you know, just like repress, repress, repress. And we're plagued with like a community of men that don't really know what to do with us, who are very emotional beings. And it creates a lot of conflict, a lot of problems because they haven't gone to those places themselves. I'm not saying all men, but definitely the ones I've dated. So I can't help but generalize.
Yeah, there's a lot of wounded men out there,
Yeah.
right? They're wounded and they're not willing to put in the work to heal. And that's the thing. You see a lot of women, a lot of females are willing to do the healing work. They are working on themselves. They are, you know, breaking free from, you know, all of those traumas and the emotions and experiences, you know, and the men aren't doing that. A lot of men aren't doing that work and they aren't expressing themselves and they are scared to cry. Like you said, like you need to hold that masculine tough guy, you know, persona. And if you don't, then you're not a real man. And that's held so many men back, you know, from really experiencing life and being who they truly are. And, you know, and it's also, that's why they carry themselves in such a way where they are wounded, where they do lash out, where they're not understanding and compassionate and have empathy and are willing to communicate. And that's affected their relationships with women, right? So it's like, that's why it's so important. You know, there's just too many men out there that aren't willing to do that or put that work or feel those things and cry it out. and release those emotions, process them. So we need more of that. We need more men to really step up into that, right?
100%, 100%. Oh my gosh. I'm even seeing like men's retreats, and like men need to, I mean, I'm not speaking from a man's perspective, but I feel that they need to come together and heal together as a collective, in these gatherings and these groups. Like we have these women retreats, and I know men do get together, but I really feel there's so much power in brothers coming together and doing this work. And maybe that's something in your future that I'm kind of envisioning, to lead the divine masculine to be stronger at the end of the day. We think like this is a sign of weakness, but in reality, you're processing your own emotions, your own traumas in order to be stronger and to be the leader that we women need you to be. I do believe in I mean, we're all leaders. I'm not putting down women in any way, but you all are stronger than us in so many ways. I'm not scared to say that, like there is a different, like there's a dynamic in the male female relationship where I feel like if the man isn't in his divine masculine, he often will be in his shadow. So like he he will lack the leadership skills. He will lack the leadership skills to lead a woman. And then what happens is the woman becomes more masculine, the woman becomes more stronger, or it's unbalanced, or he might be like overly controlling or even aggressive. It just it throws off the balance. So if a man is really ready to do that, I think it's such beautiful and powerful work. And I have met many empowered, strong, sensitive as well men, empathetic men. So definitely I encourage all the men that are listening to really tap into that and dive deep. It's only going to help you in your life and all your relationships as well, even with your children, to connect with them better too. The deeper you meet yourself, the deeper you can meet other people. You can't meet people where you haven't been in yourself. So I think that's so beautiful and powerful. And also, let's come back to the erectile dysfunction, because I think it's such an important piece of masculinity, because a lot of men think that we need to eat meat to be strong, to be viral. What's the word in English? How do you say it? VIRIL, strong,
Yeah,
virile. Oh my God.
I think it's like
It's
something
okay.
like that.
It's okay. Like masculine, right? And to have power. And it's just like, so some men, I remember making fun of my dad, who went plant-based 9 years ago with their big belly, by the way. They're not even these healthy men. And they're like, wow, what are you doing over there? Like, have a piece of meat. You're not a man. Like all these things. And it's just like, I'm thinking like, you probably can't even get it up, like the blood flow. So, I mean, to me, there's nothing more masculine. There's nothing more sexy too than a compassionate man, first of all, that like has compassion for animals, that has compassion for not murdering innocent beings. And then from a physical standpoint, they perform better, they like smell better, they taste better, like everything. So like, let's talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a whole nother part of conditioning and programming of the man, of the masculine, right? It's like you need meat to be strong and be a man. And if you don't have meat, if you're not consuming meat, then you're just not. You're just basically a pansy, right?
Mhm.
So we found out that whole thing was a lie, right? Realized that. And we also found out that that's also, causing different types of effects on men's health, right? The way we perform, right? Our stamina, our endurance, our circulation of blood flow in the body, right? So it's actually taking away from our masculine side and our ability to be a man and perform and to reproduce, right? Which is why Viagra and Cialis are some of the most top selling drugs in the world, right? Because many of these men, they're losing, you know, their fertility, right? Their sperm health, right? The ability to produce an erection, to maintain an erection, right? So it's like when you do that, it doesn't feel very manly at all, right? When you're not able to have an erection an erection, or you're not able to please and satisfy your woman, your partner, right? So what is the point of trying to put on this facade of being a man by consuming all of this meat when simultaneously you're clogging up your body and clogging your arteries and blocking circulation of blood flow, and you're dying internally? What is the point of having that, right? And being, when people say they're jacked, they need this big muscle and things like that, they're really just inflamed, dehydrated, and swollen, which is why people call, being jacked swole, right? Which is really, you're just swollen with different waste and inflamed from all the acids and the accumulation of fats in the body. So yeah, I think men really need to rewire their whole structure and way of thinking, and to unlearn what we've been taught and to relearn the truth, right? Because we've gotten so far away from that, we've become so disconnected from nature and far from what is our reality. What are the laws and principles of nature, right? We're not aligned with those anymore. Most men are not aligned with that at all, right? So they have this idea, this ideology that's been programmed into them since birth, and they've grown to be completely, to believe in that full-hearted, believe in that without being able to break free from that whole conditioning. So yeah, I think it's holding men back from, truly stepping into who they were meant to be, stepping into their power, performing as they should, right? And this is disappointing for their partners, for the females, right?
Yes.
So
it takes a toll on the confidence level too. It takes a toll on, like you were saying, if they can't perform, then it really does lower your self-esteem, right? And I know so many are struggling with this, and they don't talk about it because there's a lot of shame around it. There's a lot of taboo around it. But I think this information really needs to come out, and thank you for, bringing it up, and sharing vulnerably, your own journey with it, because so many men and women, struggle with sexual issues going on, um, yeast infections, endometriosis, there's like so many different things that affect women as well. But men, I think, like, if that's not, reason enough to change, like, I don't know what is. Like, somebody tells you that you could have better sex, like, hello. And I
exactly.
know, in the Game Changers, that movie, that documentary was incredible. It was all about super athletes that were plant-based. And I don't know if you've seen it, but
Yes.
yeah, they do
Yeah.
like tests on these athletes, like on a regular, sad diet, and then they take tests. They did blood tests, and they also measured the like the penis. They did the size, the length, the endurance, like how long it went and how much was produced. And there was like a clear difference by being on a plant-based diet that they were performing better. So I know that movie really, really had an impact in the male community, that a lot of men transition to plant-based foods after seeing that, because that really speaks to your heart. Women want to look good, be sexy. We have to like go with what is really what they want, and men would, what more do they want than to like have good sex? So if we could like bring this information more, I feel like that would really, really change people's minds and hearts and start to see things differently. But yeah.
Yeah, they showed the viscosity of the blood
Mm.
between the standard American diet and the plant-based, and the viscosity of blood was so thick, so much more thicker than the plant-based, athletes, where the blood was free flowing,
Yeah.
right? So it's just like you could just see visually how much of an effect it has on you, right? And
Mhm.
it's like you said, that affects your confidence as a man, right? The way you perform, right? And the way you perform in bed, right? And the way you're able to satisfy your partner. And if you can't do that, that's just going to affect you mentally, emotionally, and you're going to begin to lash out and express, rage and pain. And then it's like that's not how it has to be for all these men,
Yeah.
who are just trying to, putting on this facade, this illusion of what it's what needs to be done to be a man.
Hmm.
And it's really hurting them in the long run. And it's hurting their relationships, and it's hurting them from, becoming themselves and facing themselves. And there, so many of these men are running away, so it's time to face all of these things and confront them head on.
Yeah. Well, for ourselves and for our children too, as you were saying that, I kept seeing like, our children that are learning these patterns, like we're just passing that on and passing that on so many levels. And it's a little bit scary where we're heading. It's a little bit scary to see the numbers. And I just really hope that more and more people really take on this information and not only change themselves, but, become leaders as well, become like, I'm not saying you have to do exactly what Matt does or anything like that, but if you have a transformative experience, like share it, maybe you want to write a book about it. Maybe you're a musician and you want to play a song about it, but like, let's try to like spread this word out into the world, because more and more people I feel are more ready and need it, because there's like such a, how do you say, a difference between like, there's people that are like really, really going down and being more and more unhealthy, but then there's also a lot of people that are waking up that are becoming uber healthy. And there's like the two extremes that are starting to happen. So we definitely, I feel like we have a responsibility, and you certainly have taken it on. I'm going to show your books that you've written, and I, printed them out. I like to have things in paper, but you wrote a book called Detox for Mankind that you can find on your website. So we'll definitely put the information in the comments and in the description, and also Meals for Mankind. So check these out. Matt for Mankind. He's on a mission, and he's also on all the socials with Matt for Mankind on Instagram, on TikTok. And he wrote these books. So tell us a little bit about the books and, how they came about. They're amazing. They're so like, it just has everything in there that you need to heal yourself, and then also you support people through your private, the Electric Human Academy. So please explain to us a little bit what the books are and what people can expect from working with you.
Yeah, so the books, I just wanted to provide people with just a simple, basic source of, of guidance or truth in one place that they can have, where they can just start of getting the concept and understanding of what true natural healing is, and their ability to heal themselves, right? Because a lot of people don't understand that every single one of us has a body that is a self-healing organism. So I just wanted to sum it up in just one place where it's like, okay, you can really get a good grasp of the concept in a simple way. I wanted to simplify everything so it was able to be understood and comprehended by anyone, right? It's not complex, it's not crazy scientific, it's just straight to the point, right? Where anyone can read and understand it and understand their power of healing, their self-healing abilities, the mechanisms of healing, and what they need to do, what they can do, right? And so there's obviously ways to work into that, right? But this was just a basic step-by-step guide of just how to do it for yourself, right? So everybody has access to it. Anybody can go out and heal themselves, right? So I wanted to just try to, combine all of that information into one book. And that's what Detox for Mankind was, just trying to create this ultimate detoxification protocol, balanced protocol, that would be, just effective, truly effective, and really just easy to follow for anybody. And I'm not saying it's simple, but maybe it's not easy to follow because it involves breaking all of the habits and addictions and the self-limited beliefs and really just diving into all these other things that you don't need, or just getting rid of all these things, elimination, because that's what I really believe it is, process of elimination, and also nourishing the body, creating that proper environment for the body to heal itself. And I think that's what Detox for Mankind really does. It gets down to just the bare grits and one of the most optimal ways of creating that environment for your body to regenerate itself.
Mhm.
And that's what it does. If you do it for a certain amount of time, that's what you experience is regeneration. But
Mhm.
of course, it's called, we call it paying it back to nature. It gets worse before it gets better for most people, because once you're detoxing and eliminating all of this waste,
Mhm.
it doesn't always feel pleasant, but the rewards of health and vitality and life force are on the other side of that. So that's what I try to do with the books, is just simplify things, get down to the bare basics, get down to the simple truth of what the body is, what the body needs, what we require to thrive, what our true nature is, and just how to reconnect with that. So
Mhm.
that's what I want to do in the books. And then in the academy, Electric Human Academy is a program that I created where it literally covers every single aspect of health. We bring them all together and we work them in with each person into their life, and we optimize each and everything that you're doing to make it work for you, right? Just to have your life so you can thrive, right? And that's what it is. I'm guiding each person step by step and
Mhm.
supporting them through every step of their journey, right? Providing that motivation, that inspiration, that guidance to carry them through no matter what. And a lot of questions come up along the way, and it's just nice to have someone, an expert in the field to help move you through that, to help give you clarity, right? And a system that helps you adjust, helps the body adjust and work its way through in a nice balanced approach,
Mhm.
right? Because just a lot of programs just cover just eating. Okay, just eat this. But I think it's so much more than that. And also, I think that a lot of them just don't cover all of this in such a comprehensive way and go to that level of depth. So that's why I like to think of Electric Human Academy as one of the most comprehensive programs out there, where it's like you'll never need anything ever again, right? Because now you'll have a full understanding of the power of your body. You're no longer dependent on medications and the doctors and the hospitals and the surgeries and, giving away your power to other peoples and entities, right? You're taking it all back. You're achieving true health freedom, which I believe is the goal. You're free. And that's what I want to give to each and every individual that I work with, because everybody should have that. Everyone is has access to that.
I love it. Thank you for everything you do. You really do put the power back in the people's hands, whereas the medical system will be like, keep coming back, keep coming back. Like, and I, a lot of people say like, oh, but, you know, I don't know, like they think eating this way is expensive. Sometimes they think coaching is expensive, but then you like really put put it into perspective, put it into perspective, like there's always a cost, and this is like invest in yourself. That's just what I want to tell everybody who's watching, like invest in yourself. There's nothing like your health, and there's nothing like really having that freedom, like that word freedom is so important. There is not even a price to put on that, like your
Mhm.
freedom is the most important thing ever. So definitely, like, I invested so much in mentors, in coaches, in therapists, in hypnotherapists, plant medicine ceremonies. Like, I have been really like investing a lot in myself, and I'm seeing the results. I'm seeing the shift in me. Like, everybody's like, wow, Aline, like you're so like comfortable on screen or whatever, like you're doing amazing things. And I'm like, this has not been easy for me. Like, this has been a lot of work. This has been a lot of investment in myself, a lot of cleansing, and you know like spending the money on the fruit. And it's not even that expensive at the end of the day, when you calculate, like, I'm not drinking coffee no more, I'm not smoking cigarettes anymore, I'm not buying drugs, I'm not like, partying, buying expensive clothes, like all these things. So my priorities have shifted to health, like health and only health. Is this going to help me? Is this not going to help me? Like, that's just it. So, if we want to become our highest version of ourselves, then we really do have to get the help we need. And there is nothing wrong with saying, I need help. Like I have no shame saying I still see a therapist. Like I have no shame saying I, still have a mentor. Like I have a lot of support around me. And I think it is so important. I cannot have done this on my own. All our community helps me out so much. So definitely to anybody who's interested in working with Matt, like I encourage you to reach out to him, to have him as your coach. It is such a privilege to work with him. And, I have the privilege of, being his friend and learning from him like this. And I just like, he is my coach. He is such an amazing, amazing, like not just a coach, but you speak life into people. And just like what April said, that I helped her to believe in herself. Like that is what you do. You believe in people, you really see our potential, and you help us to rise to it in such an incredible way. And it goes beyond the food, it's a spiritual thing, you're very spiritual as well. So I just absolutely love you. And thank you so much for coming on here. Is there anything else that you would like to share? Any last words, any thoughts, anything that's come up?
Yeah, I truly value our friendship, Aline, and I truly value everything that you do for, everybody in the community and the way you show up, right? No matter, and like you said, you put in the work to get here, right? So like people think it's just an overnight thing. It's like, no, you committed to yourself, you invested in yourself, and you pushed through all of these boundaries and, all these roadblocks and challenges of your life. So, and that's what you inspire each and every one of them to do for themselves, right? And then investing in yourself is like, there's no greater investment than in yourself, first of all, right? Because like, yeah, like health may be pricey, but it's like you're saving yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars down the road, right? In medical bills, in surgeries, in doctor visits, in specialists, right? All of these things. So really, what is it costing you financially? Like, what is it costing you financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? To be stuck and to not get help and to just go it alone and just wing it, right? Because that's what so many people do. And so many people just get stuck in that cycle over and over, and they just stay in the same place. So I see it's invaluable to get help, right? To have someone guide you along and mentor you along the way and support you in that. That's invaluable. Yeah. And investing in your health is priceless. I don't mind spending any amount of money in my health because I realize, like you said, you can't put a number, you can't put a price on your health, but a lot of the people that I work with are just, you got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. You got to be fed up. You got to be ready for change. Right? So when you get there, when you hit that wall, which is exactly what I did, I hit the wall. It's like, I can't go on doing the same stuff. It's like, something's got to change. Then it's like something, switches, a flip switches, and you're like, let's start incorporating these changes. And then all of a sudden your life transforms in every single way. And it's such a beautiful transformation. And really just, you feel and become superhuman. Yes. Right? You become unrecognizable to your average person, but you're illuminating your light onto the rest of the world and showing people what they're capable of, right? If we can do it, you can do it too. Yes. Anybody's capable of it. Yeah. Any type of limitation that you put on yourself is only you're putting that in yourself. Those are the only limits we have in our life, are the ones that we set on ourselves. So really break free and break through all of these limitations and all of this negative thinking, right? And know that you can achieve and do anything you believe and put your mind to, right? And it's like, that's where me and Aline had to come from, right? Of shifting our mindset, starting with the mind and desiring more from life and knowing that we can be more and achieve more and do more, right? And knowing and listening to our soul. Stop quieting your soul. Stop running away from your soul. Right? The whispers eventually turn into screams. Yeah. Right? And you can only run for so long. And if you do, it's just really, you're just terrorizing yourself. Right? And you're just going to live in pain. So you can free yourself from all of that. You can achieve freedom, true health freedom, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Right? And there's nothing more beautiful and amazing and enjoyable than that, is the journey, to self-realization, to becoming the greatest version of ourselves, right? So for all of us, each and every one of the people who are watching, you're capable of that. So break through, rise above all
Yeah.
of that stuff, right? So I'd say, yeah, that's what I want to say to people, you know?
And don't be scared of your power. Don't be scared of your success. I mean, sometimes
Yes.
it can be scary, but I think that, it's like that Mariam Williamson poem, that says, it is not the darkness you're afraid of, it is your light. I'm probably going to mess
Don't
it up, but that's,
don't dull your shine. Don't dull your shine for other people, right?
yes,
Playing small.
yes.
Stop playing small to make everyone else comfortable,
Mm.
right?
Oh, we definitely make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
But
no,
there's
we get
there's
that.
also those that are ready to change, that are ready to take charge of themselves, that aren't going to that are maybe going to feel uncomfortable at first, but then they're going to like tune in. And one thing I really love about what you said this on Bobby's interview, he was asking you why do people follow you so much? Why do they resonate so much with what you have to say? And you said, because I speak truth. And I was like, whoo, like, yes, that's it. You speak truth, and people want truth in this bullshit world that we're living in, this world that has been, lying to us since we're little. Like, how refreshing is some truth? Like, it speaks to our soul, and you've helped me in so many different ways. But especially like sharing more truths online, and not be so scared of those naysayers and people that go, no, that's not true, and this and that. Like, just sticking to it, because I know, at least my truth, at least, the truth that I feel God is showing me, where I'm at right now. And I, may evolve, for sure, will evolve. But I feel like there is no greater truth than going back to nature, than going back to the fruits, the veggies, maybe a little bit of seeds and nuts, but like keeping it so simple, keeping it so simple. Like, we could thrive off fruit. I'm on day 6 of all watermelon. Like, I've never felt better in my life. I feel so good. And it's just like, even I'm just baffling myself, like, how am I even just alive? Don't I need protein? Like, I still have that a little, like, don't I need protein?
You gotta get your protein, Elaine. Gotta get your protein.
I'm not dissipating, I'm not emaciated, like, I'm just, staying the same, because I've gone through the detox process. But anyway, we could talk about that some more another time. But yeah, thank you so much. I know this has been a really powerful conversation, for so many people who are watching, and I will put the information for all of, where they could find you in the description and the comments. So feel free to reach out to Matt. He's amazing. If you're not following him already, please follow him for some truth bombs that will change your life.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Aline. It's an honor. It's a pleasure to talk with you and to be on here with you. So thank you for all of that. And yeah, I just love our conversation. So
Thank you.
it's
So
just
do
awesome.
I. Thank you so much. All right. I'll see you soon. Bye,
All right.
everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye.